Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your continued support. We all know that bills are going up. Everything's going up. Electric, gas, water, food, literally everything is rising in price. And it makes it very difficult for a lot of people to make ends meet. Even people who are working full-time, as a family working full-time, even they are struggling now. They're seeing more and more people from working households going to food banks because they can't afford to buy food for their families. And it's a really big issue going on at the moment. But there are some charities out there who are saying that particularly for the vulnerable people, and that is perhaps the elderly, the sick and disabled, or the people who are currently out of work, they're saying that those people in particular are feeling the brunt of this. And what they want to try and do is to lobby the government to bring in what they want to call a social tariff for things like water rates. I call them water rates, that's the old way of putting it. The water bills. They want to try and introduce some kind of social tariff which would be kind of means tested, if you know what I mean. So that people who are on the lowest incomes would get help with their water bills, and that this would be a constant help. So it wouldn't be like the cost of living payments, which happens used to happen once or twice a year. It would be a constant help on their water bills, so that they would be able to afford them while they were either unemployed or for the sick and disabled and things like this. Now, of course, we do know that the water companies are making a huge amount of money out of this, and we know the whole issue regarding privatisation and what it's caused to the water industries, and as well as the electric and gas companies as well. And I think it's a good idea that they have some kind of social tariff going on for people who are vulnerable and the sick and disabled and the unemployed and the elderly. But I'm wondering whether this could be widened a little bit. If they are going to look down the way of means testing the bills and things like this, I think they need to be looking at how that's going to be funded. And I think it should be funded through the water companies instead of the government. So maybe the government, rather than the government putting money into subsidising the water bills and things like that for people who are vulnerable, maybe the energy companies or the water companies should be the ones that fit the bill, because that would then put pressure on them to try and keep the bills low. And it might also mean that, because we all know they get huge amounts of profits, and even though they say that they are struggling financially, we know they're getting a huge amount of money in profits and things like this. So I'm wondering whether this is a good idea. Should there be, and I'm going to ask you this question, do you think there should be a social tariff, so that perhaps even on a sliding scale? So depending on how much income you've got will depend on how much of the bill you pay. And it can slide anywhere down from 100% down to maybe 10-20%. Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think that everyone should have to pay the same amount of the water bills regardless of how much money they have coming into the house? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this down in the comment section. Please do subscribe if you've got this far. I'll see you next time.